At IronEdge, we pride ourselves in giving great experiences.
Right.
What does the experience of an extended, well-vetted onboarding look like from a client's perspective? Dan?
Sure. Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I have a unique sort of way to look at answering it because I was a client. Years and years ago, I was a client of a managed services provider, right? So I can kind of look at this both from our perspective and from the client perspective. Now, our goal with a well executed onboarding is kind of our first goal, and what we talk about a lot is there's a day that we're going to start supporting that client. We're going to start supporting their end users on their computers. We're going to start supporting their network and server environment. We're going to start to support their cloud environment. All this stuff starts on a certain day. Well, our goal, if we've done this onboarding properly, when we start support of that client, say it's December 1st, and we start support, we're going to start taking phone calls. We're going to start getting tickets, and we're going to start getting emails from that new client. And we want the new client staff and the people submitting those issues to get a great experience from us. And what we mean by that is when you call into us on the very first day, we want to know, we want our technical team, everybody that answers the phone, we want them to know what your business is, how it works, um, the basic networking infrastructure, the application layer. What are your core business applications and who supports those? How do you get support? We want our end user team to know any server infrastructure and cloud infrastructure, and in a general sense, how this stuff put together and how it helps your company. So if we've gone through this extended onboarding process well, we've gathered all that information. We've figured out what's important. We've trained our technical team, all of this before we start support. And then on the day we start support, our technical team has that information. They've heard it, they've been trained on it, and we have a knowledge base that we use that they can look up any related information immediately and really provide a great experience for the person that's calling in needing help.
That's excellent because if a client is onboarded, but the proper vetting isn't done, the converse, I mean, it's a terrible situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got the people on the help desk that don't know the client, they don't know what their network situation is, and they're doing discovery on the fly and documentation on the fly.
If documentation, right? Like if you're even recording it, right? Just discovery on the fly it takes a lot of time. It's frustrating for the end users because we're trying to figure stuff out on the first or second phone call that somebody calls us. We would be, if somebody hasn't spent all that time up front, we're then trying to figure out, okay, I can't figure out why the network's not working. Let me try to figure out where the firewall is. What is its IP address? How does it work? How do I get into it? There's all these things that drastically make it a worse experience for an end user. And we alleviate that by spending normally 4 to 6 weeks before we even start support, gathering information like that, understanding the systems, documenting it, and having it ready for our team to just look those things up in our knowledge base. It pops up and they can help. We hear stories of, and I'm familiar with situations that are the opposite. Maybe Rebecca has too, Rebecca G. You can start service with a managed services provider without them doing all this front end work, right? They don't have to do it. Basically, what they have to do is they have to push their support agents to every computer in your environment. That's really the basic task that has to be done. So if that's the case and you're with a different managed services provider and they say, okay, we're going to start support on December 1st. And you say, okay, what do you need before? And they go, oh, nothing. We're just going to push our agent out to your computer. Or when somebody calls us, then we'll install it. That is certainly something that happens in the real world. And we have very specifically decided not to do that and to invest in the time and energy that it takes to ramp up a new client into our infrastructure and to document them. And like Rebecca said earlier, Rebecca P said, there's a cost associated with that, with all of that effort, which ties us back around into the theme today. Why do we charge for an onboarding, right? And so that's one of the things we're talking about is there's actual hard costs of labor and tools that we use to do the process.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, Dan, one of the things that I've seen within the managed service industry, when it comes to the onboarding process and actually sending people on site, a lot of times, what I've seen and what I've experienced, at other providers is the fact that we'll deploy the agents, but there's no personal touch. There's nobody that is there readily available in an office for the staff to grab and say, hey, I need help with this. And especially when it comes to switching over technology, moving to new platforms. And so part of that onboarding experience with IronEdge Group is to ensure that there is that personal touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There's multiple people that someone would interface with through this onboarding process that normally goes 4 to 6 weeks, and then we start support, and then it goes another couple months afterwards. There's multiple people on our team that are involved. Your salesperson would be involved, which is Rebecca G, involved through the whole way. The pro services team and a subset of that team, which is the onboarding team, is involved through all of the documentation creation and information gathering on the front end, and then potentially remediating issues and then getting projects handed off to them. They're involved the whole time. Our support team has been introduced to you, and our VP of operations and your technical lead is involved on the front end of an onboarding. I'm involved as an account manager and representative of the company. I'm involved through the onboarding. So there's all these people and all this time and effort that we spend working with the new client to really do what Rebecca said, which is make them feel comfortable, let them understand how our team works, let them meet multiple people. And all of that effort, again, ties back into the why we charge for an onboarding and why it takes so much effort on our side, is because that's what we're aiming for. We want this great experience. We want all these terrific team members on our team to get involved. So when you start with us as a client, you're going to get a terrific experience. That's our goal.